Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, warm welcome. So in today's episode, I'm going to be updating the series that I run on my channel called Bitcoin Bull Run Priced Against Altcoins. Now, this is a series that I have not updated in approximately 3 weeks. You can see I've done 2 videos on this so far and people seem to enjoy it. I made a video 4 weeks ago and a video 3 weeks ago, so let's update it now. So first of all, you might be wondering, if this is your first time on my channel, first of all, like I said, warm welcome, hope you enjoy your stay, hope you find value in the content, but you might be wondering, Bitcoin bull run, what is this guy smoking? How on earth are we even remotely in anything resembling a bull run? Because if you do look at the Bitcoin, if you look at the Bitcoin USD pair, you'll notice that we're very clearly in a bear market. We are capitulating to no lows, but this is a bull run priced in altcoins. Let's see how our videos from 3 and 4 weeks have panned out, because I've been telling you for over a month now, altcoins are going to get slaughtered against Bitcoin. So when we do this series, what we do is we look at how altcoin pairs are performing against Bitcoin. So for example, we'll be looking at Cadena Bitcoin, we'll be looking at Engine Bitcoin, we'll be looking at Ape Bitcoin, Doge, Crypto.com, JASMY. We're just going to be taking a quick look, spending 10-20 seconds commenting on a few things in every chart. With that being said, let's jump into today's episode. Now, before we do jump in these charts, as I've been saying, the Bitcoin dominance is on a massive rampage. So it does not matter whether the price of Bitcoin goes up or whether the price of Bitcoin goes down. If the Bitcoin dominance is heading up, Bitcoin is going to massively outperform all of these cryptos. That being said as well, just a tiny tidbit, the dollar is on a massive rampage and the stock market is heading massively down. That's the only thing I want to say about that. So I am going to now leave this tab. We're not going to say anything else about it, but those two things together is not bullish for the crypto market. So in my opinion, we should expect lower price targets for Bitcoin. We should expect altcoin Bitcoin pairs to capitulate much lower. And another way of looking at this, because unfortunately, there aren't pairs where you can get BTC KDA or, BTC, well, you might be able to get BTC ETH, but you wouldn't be able to get BTC Doge and all of these different things. So we're looking at how altcoins are performing against Bitcoin. If we invert the chart, for example, if we do something like this, we'd be seeing this is how Bitcoin is performing against the altcoins. But nonetheless, we'll switch it back over, look at how the altcoins are performing against Bitcoin. So Cadena is a pure example of a cryptocurrency that had a massive run up against Bitcoin in the bull run, and since then it has massively capitulated. We've broken below the 786 Fibonacci, we've broken below all the last lines in the sand, and as you can see, it looks like we're probably coming down another 50% down to the lows. The lows on the daily time frame, if we come over here, you can see we've got a bunch of candle body closes, or we've got a few candle body closes back down here, and if we extrapolate it a bit further, you can actually see we could have actually plonked this trend line round about here and encompassed these points as well. So that being said, it does look like Bitcoin is going to massively outperform KDA in the next coming months or so, especially when you look at the Bitcoin dominance. If this is just going to keep on heading up, altcoins are going to get slaughtered. Let's check out how Engine is performing against Bitcoin. Switch over to the weekly time frame, because like I said, we're not here to do a bunch of TA on every single chart. We're simply here to get a better perspective of everything that's going on in the markets. Within the past week, we have capitulated below the last line in the sand, the 786 Fibonacci. In fact, in my last Engine video, I was predicting a 53% drop against Bitcoin, and we're down about 18%. I would also like to, mention that when we look at these, I was making these predictions telling you that Bitcoin is going to have a bull run price in altcoins a month ago. So out of curiosity, how well has this video aged? In the past month, Cadena is down 45% approximately against Bitcoin. Engine is down, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was 5 weeks, so my bad. In the past 4 weeks, Engine's down 24%. We're going to check out in 4-week increments how everything is performing and how well my prediction has aged on all of these altcoins. Once again, with Engine, looks like we're going back down to much lower price targets. This trend line is what I've got my eyes on, which from where we are now, another 43% drop. Apecoin in the past 4 weeks, this one looks like it has aged very well, down 44%. Once again, these are all approximate, so when you look at these price targets, if it says 43.7, I'm just going to say 44. If it says 43.49, I'll just say 43. I'm going to round it to whatever whole number it is. But nonetheless, this is massively capitulating on the BTC pair. This hasn't been out for too long, so we can probably look at this on the weekly time frame, clear this up a tiny bit. But we have capitulated right down to your last line in the sand. We're sitting at your 786 Fibonacci right now. If ApeCoin BTC keeps on heading down, we're going to get absolutely wrecked. And interesting as well, the last ApeCoin video I made, because bear in mind I do cover a lot of these altcoins separate to this series. So if you notice, if you're new to my channel, and you notice me covering, Ape or Engine or KDA or any of these cryptos, and you like this TA, check out my channel because I do cover all of these. I predicted a 16.5% drop on Ape BTC, and we are coming down to that level right now. So Ape against Bitcoin as well, massively capitulating. Dogecoin is once again down at 786 Fibonacci. We have a big orange box here, so this encompasses both Fibonacci's 786 from the candle body close and to the wick, and we're literally wicking below both of these. On the daily, weekly, we are breaking below these, well, any time frame you look at this really, but we're just starting to push below this. We haven't had a weekly candle body close yet. We could be setting that up very, very soon, which could be very, very shaky. It looks like Doge is probably about to drop another 60% against Bitcoin, which makes sense. If we see Bitcoin come all the way down to 23,000, which is the 200-week moving average, which is where I think we're going down to, then you're going to see a lot of these altcoins absolutely get wrecked against Bitcoin. Crypto.com, the past 4 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing crazy, down about 16%. This is very much explainable by the fact that this was when most of the sellers came in. They changed the fundamentals, they changed the Crypto.com staking cards, and since then we've been down, massive increments. So it is starting to slow down nonetheless. Crypto.com breaking down to the 786, breaking down to the last line in the sand, not looking good against Bitcoin. JASMY, wow, I didn't even need to do TA on this. You can just look at this chart, tell me how this is performing against Bitcoin. You can take this one. I'll let you go ahead. Your mind is probably saying it's not looking good. I agree with you. This does not look good. This chart looks garbage. We are massively capitulating. If you've been holding JASMY for, I fat fingered this a tiny bit. I don't want to overshoot this and then, be accused of cherry picking. I want to make sure I get the accurate data. If you were holding JASMY on the 22nd of November, you are down almost 95% against Bitcoin. Not looking good for JASMY. TRON. TRON is a crypto that had a move up in the past couple of weeks, in the past couple of months, which is nice. But what you'll notice is this high on the weekly time frame is just a tiny bit lower than this high. And what do you notice about this high? It is a large amount lower than this high. What do you notice about this high? A large amount lower than this high. What do you notice about this high? Lower than this high. You get the gist with what I'm rolling on here. TRON has been in a bear market against Bitcoin since January 2018, and a lot of people, might disagree with me. A lot of people might be long-term TRON investors, but tell me, what is this chart? We have literally been going down from where we are right now. We are down 86% over a period of 1,624 days approximately. Bear in mind, this is on a weekly time frame. I've drawn it to the approximate range, so it can give it a week or so off, but more than 1,600 days we've been in a bear market. So this altcoin really has not been performing well against Bitcoin whatsoever. Coming over into Near, looks like we've hit our price target from the last video. We are breaking down to the 786. This is your last line in the sand before we do, or if we do break below here, the next level down is about another 63% drop against Bitcoin. That seems pretty hefty. I don't necessarily think we might head all that way. Like I said, we're literally just here to look at these charts for a very brief period in time. I'm not here to say, this is what we can do. I'm not here to hop over to the daily time frame, draw micro fibs and give you smaller price targets for the meantime. I'm really just here to show you the macro market structure of all these altcoins. Let's head over to AMP. I'm going to start speeding through some of these that I don't cover too often. AMP, massively getting wrecked against Bitcoin. If you've been holding this since November of 2021, I'm noticing a pattern here. A lot of these topped out in November of 2021, and since then it is down 75% against Bitcoin. Massive trend line, super easy to just see AMP against Bitcoin. And I'm sure once this breaks out at some point, it's going to be a good trade. But until that happens, and while the Bitcoin dominance is continuing to head up, it's not the time for altcoins. I'm sure you're getting the gist of this by looking at these altcoins, especially if you're new to my channel. I do like to look at things in different ways than other crypto YouTubers might do. I know, well, to be honest, I don't watch other crypto YouTubers. I really don't have time. I probably could recommend you maybe 1 or 2 good YouTubers aside from me. If you do want that, then let me know in the comments down below. But personally, myself, I don't really watch other YouTubers. I prefer to have my own vision, to kind of look at the charts in my own way and not be influenced by other people, because looking at this myself, you know, I don't want to seem like a dick, like I'm bragging or anything, but I'm not. These TA videos that I've been making, they have been aging beautifully, and you know, these altcoins are getting wrecked against Bitcoin, just like we've been predicting. I've been forgetting that we're, you know, measuring some of these, but as you can see, general rule of thumb, all of these are down since the last video that we made on this. GRT getting massively wrecked. In fact, it's capitulating down to its December 2020 mint price when this was listed over on Binance. If we come over to Sol BTC, this was one of the really disappointing ones, because I myself am a big fan of Solana, and at one point in time this was massively outperforming Bitcoin. I mean, this went from I can't remember exactly how much it was. We'd have to go over and check on the specific chart. I'm not too worried, but at least on the BTC chart from this bull run, it outperformed by 500%. Since then, it has wiped out almost all of its gains. In fact, from when it bottomed in this miniature bear, where it had a triple bottom down here and then had a massive run up, we're now only up 78%, and I do imagine that we are about to wipe out all of those gains as well. You know, I always say this, but I was here in the 2018 bear, and none of these altcoins are going to hold their 786. You know, this is your 786 from low to high. We've already broken below it. If you are watching any altcoins that are still holding it, for example Ethereum, in my opinion at least, Ethereum is not going to continue to hold this. Also BNB is holding it, but we'll get to that in a second. So Sol not doing well against Bitcoin. KNC, zooming out, I mean, KNC has been doing poorly since May of 2018, since this got listed on Bitfinex. You know, it had a big spike up in April 2020, but since then, massive underperformer against Bitcoin. It is capitulating down to its 786, and it has just broken down from a massive bear flag. Ethereum, this is one of the ones that was holding up quite nicely up until recently, and then we had a massive head and shoulders pattern, we broke below it, and now in my opinion we're heading down to much lower price target. 618 is all the way down here from where we are at this moment in time. This represents a drop of about another 17% from there. The next level down is a 40% drop, and then from down there about another 42% drop down to the trend line. If we check out ADA is once again getting wrecked against Bitcoin. This is capitulating down to its 786. In the past 2 weeks, it has been outperforming Bitcoin. So technically, out of all the cryptos that I've covered in a 4-week period, or you know, out of the cryptos that I covered back here 4 weeks ago saying they were going to go down, ADA's actually up 2.5%, but you can still see massive bear flag, and sometimes it has these runs up. Like ADA's been a good performer in this market structure, but at least in terms of Bitcoin, we're miles below the 618. So don't be fooled. We do have these bounces. You can see here we bounce for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before heading down. Here we bounce for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and we actually bounce on the 4th week before heading down, and at this moment in time we've been bouncing for 2 weeks. So we could come up to the EMA ribbons before having that next leg to the downside, but nonetheless ADA is very bearish, at least in this market structure against Bitcoin. I don't always think that it's going to be bearish against Bitcoin. Nonetheless, we haven't been outperforming Bitcoin since 2018, so while we did make a new all-time high, we actually haven't been outperforming Bitcoin. If you invested in ADA in January 2018, you would just be better off buying Bitcoin instead, because you would be outperforming. This is what the ADA BTC chart says. If we look at Litecoin Litecoin's been in a bear market against Bitcoin basically its entire existence. I really don't need to say too much about this chart. If you've been holding this since 2013, once again, you would have just been better off holding Bitcoin. And I believe we're coming towards the end of this video. Link BTC, massive downtrend, falling in a falling wedge right now. Sure, could have a bounce, but macro structure, super bearish. Waves BTC. This is, you know, one of the... This crypto's been around for a while. It picked up a lot of hype in the past couple of months or so, but as you can see, since 2016, it's been in a bear market against Bitcoin, which, as the title of this video suggests, is in a bull run if you flip that scale. So Bitcoin's in a bull run against Waves, and Waves is in a bear run against Bitcoin. Now, once again, like I said, BNB and ETH were actually holding up quite well, but BNB is now falling out of this asymmetrical triangle pattern, or rising triangle, ascending triangle, whatever you kind of want to call this market structure. Nonetheless, we are breaking down. It looks like we're heading all the way down to the 618, which is about a 43% drop. I think BNB, because this has been holding up so well, and because it's only just starting this downtrend, I think it's going to get hit very hard. We're going to be wrapping up the video in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to speed through these now. Avalanche against Bitcoin, as you can see, depending on where you want to draw this. To be fair, I'd want to draw this from here. You've capitulated below the 786. This has been invalidated now. If we head over to BNX, BNX is a relatively new crypto. This has actually been performing relatively well against Bitcoin, but as you can see, these coins that perform well against Bitcoin are very far and few, and I don't think this is going to be holding up for too much longer. Rune against Bitcoin capitulating below the 786. eGold against Bitcoin already capitulated below the 786. So these are leading indicators. All of these altcoins are going to massively drop below the 786 in my opinion. Helium, since it had its bull run in 2020, it came down to the 786, came up to the 618, confirmed it as resistance, and it has started to head down. You can look at this like textbook, like clockwork, bounce on the 786, bounce up to the 618, rejection, and now we're probably moving down to invalidate the floor down here. Aave has fallen out of favor. It's moving down in this channel below the 786. Polkadot, you know, once again, massive cascade. This chart is actually kind of ugly. I'm not the biggest fan of this chart whatsoever, but you can see at least the 786 held. You know, you came up to some of these higher fibs, got rejected from the 0.5, got rejected from the 618, broke down, bounced up on this week, got rejected from the 786. FTM, don't even need to draw a fib on this. We've massively capitulated below the 786. We are heading massively down on this. Quant has also capitulated below the 786. Probably heading down. You know, the last time I covered this, 25%, as of now about 18%. If we look at GMT, wow, this has got hit really hard in the past 4 weeks since I made my last video on this. 45% down on the Bitcoin pair, and it's capitulated below the 786, and I think it's going a lot lower. FIDA BTC, have to zoom in for this one. This one has not been acting bullish since it got listed over on Binance. This has been in a massive downtrend, and I think this is a scam wick. Nonetheless, this is what it is, but you are in a massive downtrend. Look at this sea of red. This looks very ugly. XRP against Bitcoin. This is actually one of the top performers against Bitcoin. No, I'm only joking. Let's zoom out. It is not outperformed Bitcoin since May of 2017. So if you are an XRP maxi, look at this chart. You know, we've been in a bear run against Bitcoin since 2017. A bunch of the XRP bulls were saying, you know, XRP $10, $100, and XRP didn't even return to the all-time highs. I mean, this is a garbage central bank coin. It's fully centralized, and you know, I don't want to go off on a tangent and talk about XRP, but this chart is not only got terrible fundamentals, not only got terrible technicals, but it's not been in a bull run since against Bitcoin since May 2017. GALA BTC, which is where we are pretty much going to be wrapping up this video before a couple of final thoughts, has also capitulated below the 786. If we take a price target, as this is the last one that we'll be doing, down 32% since my last set of Bitcoin bull run priced in alts video. So I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope you found some value in this, especially if you are an altcoin investor. I really do hope this is eye-opening, because you don't need to keep up with all these charts like I do. I mean, I'm a crypto YouTube channel. This is This is what I do, this is what I love to do, but you do not need to look at all of these charts. You simply need to keep your eyes on the Bitcoin dominance. If the Bitcoin dominance is heading up, the odds are about 99% likely that your altcoin is probably getting wrecked against Bitcoin. So a couple more final thoughts. I really do recommend, if you are investing in altcoins, for the love of God, look at how your altcoin is performing against Bitcoin. And you might also, you know, not be able to chart your altcoin against Bitcoin. So for example, there are a couple of cryptos, I think FITFI might be one of them. Yeah, for example, you can't chart FITFI against Bitcoin, but what you can do is you can go over to CoinMarketCap. If we type in CoinMarketCap, what you can do is you can type in FITFI. This is just an example. You can do any crypto you want. Untick the USD box, tick the BTC box, or if you want a side by side, keep them both activated, and you can see how is your altcoin performing against Bitcoin. The chances are your chart looks like this. I do heavily recommend, if you're invested in alts, if you're still holding on to alts, if you're buying the dip, which I do not recommend, that you should be looking at these. Now, this does not mean you shouldn't buy the dip on anything. I'm personally buying the dip on Bitcoin, but while the Bitcoin dominance is going up, buying the dip is just absolutely stupid. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Wait for a trend reversal once Bitcoin, because if the Bitcoin dominance keeps on heading up like this, if it just keeps on going week after week after week after week up to 60%, and then you start to see a massive drop, that is the time to take advantage of cheap altcoin prices. If the Bitcoin dominance just keeps on heading up and you're buying the dip on altcoins all the way up, you're soon going to find that you don't have much more money to buy the dip unless you've got like a 9-to-5 job. And then even more so, if you've got a 9-to-5 job and this is your source of income, you don't want to be going to work working these 8-hour shifts so you can buy altcoins which are going to drop 90% against Bitcoin. There is no point. So I say this in the most friendly way possible, but if you're buying altcoins right now, you are probably going to get slaughtered in the next couple of months. Keep your eyes on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin closes below 28,500, if it keeps on capitulating and the Bitcoin dominance keeps on heading up, all of these altcoins are going to become a lot cheaper against Bitcoin. Now, one last thing, and then we are going to wrap up the video. I have made a video on how to spot the altcoin bottom. If you are curious on when I personally plan on buying altcoins, when I personally plan on accumulating altcoins, because there's going to be a difference between the two on here. I think there's going to be a time to buy altcoins for a swing trade, which I know a bunch of you dirty degenerates are going to love. Then go check out this video titled "This Chart Will Call the Altcoin Market Bottom." That will tell you everything you need to know about when to buy altcoins. That's all I've got for you today. Hope you found some value in this content. As always, Cowboy out. Peace.